You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done. Welcome to Biz-Souls, everyone. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler, also the technician in hot water. So, we had to cancel the last 4 podcasts because of sound problems, technical issues. Now it's just memory problems. I forgot to hit the record button.
Yes.
So we had a little rehearsal there.
That's right. We have 2 amazing guests today, Leah and Mary Woods, and we are going to do a deep dive into what they're doing now because it's incredibly fascinating. We love having new and exciting people on the podcast. And what do you want to say? What else?
Yeah,
say,
and
Jeffrey?
the podcast is Biz-Souls, where we get to the heart and soul of business.
Oh, there we go. I knew we forgot something.
We absolutely forgot that.
And
now I feel I know Mary and Leah very well.
That's right. They're our new best friends together. Or our stepkids, whichever way you want to say it.
And we met them because Leah goes by all the time on her way to work, and I have a tendency to sit out front and start conversations with people.
With everyone.
And the new generation that's going to be taking over the world wanted to find out what's on their mind, what's going on, what are they thinking about. So I said, hey, we do a podcast, and Leah said, great. And in the meantime, something very exciting has happened.
Yes, it was very, very, very exciting. And to that end, we can only speak with them for a few minutes because Mary is going to be interviewed by BuzzFeed, and we got them first.
And we're very excited
in
for
your
them.
face, BuzzFeed. Sorry, I don't mean that. I really like them, actually.
So Mary and Leah Woods. So you guys you did not start off in California. You started off in South Dakota. What was life like in South Dakota?
Life in South Dakota was absolutely amazing. I feel like for sure we'll end up back there. We grew up going to the lakes, going outside, hiking, camping, fishing, pretty much anything you can think of outside. That's what we grew up doing, and absolutely loved it.
Yeah. We're from the Mount Rushmore area of South Dakota, so like very western spot, and it's similar to we've always been called the mini Denver because it's more of a like trendy backpackery rock climbery town. That's kind of more it's in the Midwest, but it doesn't feel too Midwesterny. It's more
kind of like Boulder.
I've never been to Boulder, but
it's kind of artsy and hip.
It's a little bit more hip than the rest of the Midwest. Midwest is, we'll always be years behind the trends, whatever, but they don't really care about it. So
yeah. Well, it's like Austin in Texas. Austin is the hip town in Texas as opposed to Dallas.
Yeah, I would definitely say that would be Rapid City. At least the Black Hills for sure. Creates a lot of really fun people out of that area.
And you guys had an interesting upbringing. We actually talked a little bit about education, things like that before we were interrupted and had to start over again. So tell us about that. How you were raised and educated.
So we were homeschooled all the way through. There's 3 of us. It's myself, Mary, and then our older brother Norman, and we were homeschooled our whole lives, and up until we went to college. And we were kind of just talking how a lot of people, when they hear that you're homeschooled, it doesn't necessarily raise red flags. It just raises a lot of questions, which is understandable because it's a different route than a lot of people take. But we absolutely loved it. There was a ton of community where we're from. There's a lot of homeschool community in a lot of areas that people are unaware of, but we were super involved. We were in co-ops. We do homeschool ski days. We do homeschool ice skating days. We were able to just do, besides like loving the schoolwork that we were doing, we were able to do a ton more because of it. So yeah, we loved it.
Yeah, and you were saying your mom was a graphic designer, and that really, excuse the pun, colored how you were, taught things and did things as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. Took a lot of time in the beginning in our younger years of learning how we learned best. And then when she found out that we were all very creative children, she very much honed into that. And instead of like making us take a test on like Europe's history, she'd have to be like, okay, go make a booklet on what you've learned about Europe's history, and or go make a pamphlet on Brazil. So we definitely did a lot more like creativity in our learning. Not to say we didn't learn,
Of course
but
not.
it
And
was
you know what? Well, I interrupted you, and I apologize. I just wanted to make this point. You know, I teach creativity and play for corporations, and it's the exact same thing. If you allow people to play and be creative, they will learn things better
Well-
because, you know, and it was fun, right?
Yeah. And yeah, we're all very much so visual learners, hands-on creatives. And so she tailored a lot of our curriculum and studying to that, which
Nice.
worked perfect for us. And I mean, I think it's boosted us in our professional lives and in everything. Cause I mean, it just adds so much. Like, oh yeah, we can create that. We can draw that out. I don't know, it just really empowered us, I think.
Yeah, and I think also I'm dyslexic, and so my mom found that out very young because she's dyslexic. And I remember her telling me like how like dumb she was made to feel growing up in school because of how she just learns differently. And so I didn't even realize that I was dyslexic till like well into high school.
Honestly,
she's-
college, probably.
Probably honestly when I left homeschooling, because she's like, yeah, I just understand how you learn, so I just made sure that you were learning correctly in a way that you were able to, instead of like the way that public schools are taught to just go off a curriculum. So
Right.
that was very cool also.
Nice.
Right. And she started homeschooling you because it was a great story. Wants to tell it again. It was great.
Of course. So our older brother, she was trying to enroll him into kindergarten. He was the only one who ever went to any sort of school. He went to preschool, and she was trying to enroll him into kindergarten.
Wait, which one comes first, isn't it?
No,
Is it
you've got it. She's got it right.
That's right.
I don't even see. I didn't even know what grade I was in ever.
So she was trying to enroll him into kindergarten, but they did this like little test, and they're like, "Oh, we want to hold him back because he can't throw a ball and he can't skip." And so my mom was like, "What the heck? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I'm not letting you hold him back because he can't throw a ball correctly." And so that's when the whole thing started of her looking into homeschooling, and just really, really taking off with it. I don't think she ever dreamed of homeschooling 3 kids all the way through high school. But she truly enjoyed it just as much as we did. Yeah, she loved hanging out with us. She loved having the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom and truly teach us. I know a lot of people don't even have that opportunity. So it was really great on both ends of it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And your brother's 2 years older than you, Mary?
Yes. Yep.
So then we've got this age gap. So you were all taught the same. You went through it the same. Any frustrations happened? Your brother,
Being homeschooled, it was one of the two. It's either you're going to spend every day together and you're going to love each other, or you're going to hate each other. And there was one point, Mary and I as any probably sisters more than like a sister brother duo, yeah, you're going to hate each other when you're 8 and 10 and she stole my whatever. And so one time our mom, to teach us, we were just arguing like beyond control.
Non-stop.
And she was
Weeks on
so fed up with it that she literally like tied us together, like the 2-legged race. She like put us in a big like 3X t-shirt and tied our legs together and said,
she's like,
"You're gonna work it out." And we did, and we
That's
stayed,
great.
Amazing.
and we were like, it was one of those where we're like here and we're like, I hate you.
I think she should be on the podcast next. I'd love to
Yeah,
hear her point
absolutely.
of
That would
view.
be great. That would be great.
Our mother is insane. She's so cool. And so she tied us together, and we, at the end of it, we were laughing, we were making jokes, we were getting along great. Obviously that didn't solve all of our
problems.
Sure.
You get to
And
work
it was,
out.
well, she brainstormed and that's what she came up with. And it was,
she did it. And
worked.
yeah, and so honestly, we never really had any problems. Our older brother's also a saint. He's amazing. He's the sweetest older brother anyone could ever ask for.
Aw.
Aw.
he's incredible. So never really small things like any sibling is going to argue about, but no, I mean, overall, we all get along very, very well. And
Is
I think
he
it's
here as well, or did he stay in South
South
Dakota?
Dakota. Mhm. He's a South Dakota boy through and through. He never wants to leave.
Got it. So how'd you pick your colleges and where'd you go?
Yeah, so I was going to a tech school in Rapid because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I started my business degree. I think I did one semester there. And then Leah was really
She
into
followed me.
athletics.
She followed me.
Yeah, I just follow Leah around like an older sister, little puppy.
Looking out for her, of course, protecting her, keeping her out of trouble.
Right.
Of course, that's what the older sibling.
Yeah. So I was I got onto a indoor volleyball team in North Dakota actually. And so I played there for a couple years. So Mary and I went there. That's where we got our associates in business. And that's again was our mom's idea, because a lot of people say like, oh, get your associates in arts, like, and then you can do whatever past that. And our mom was like, no, like, I really think you guys, we're all very business oriented, like creatives, like empowered like that. And so she's like, no, just get something that you can hold on to. She's like, once you get your business, like associates in business, you can always hold on to it. It never goes away. And we're like, great. So that's what we did. I'm very, very interested in those classes. Absolutely love those 2 years of learning. And then after 2 years, I wanted to continue playing volleyball, and I wanted to not be in North Dakota anymore. And so I was sending a lot of my film to schools, and I was connected with a coach in Florida, in South Florida. And she was a beach volleyball coach, and I only played indoor. And so she had been contacting me, and I was emailing her back, and I was like, hey, incredible offer, love this. I don't play beach volleyball, like, I'm so sorry. And she plays in the AVP, which is like the professional league in the US. And she's like, no, like, I played indoor over in Germany. I can like train you how to play beach. And so I said, okay, I'm sold. And so then I went to Florida after we graduated with our associates in North Dakota.
Very good. And then how did you pick California? And by the way, if your mother had been teaching homeschooling in California, you probably could have gotten her arrested for tying you up together. You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, we are an insane.
Oh, Leah.
When I say tied up, I mean like ankles,
No.
like, you know.
I get it. I get it. It's just, you know, California's gotten insane. How, out of all the states in the world, how did you pick this place? And literally in Orange County.
Not with our parents' blessing. They said, California, what did we raise you to do? Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So back to Bismarck time, I was still living there. I was working at FedEx, still hanging out with my college friends, but I had graduated my associates, and I wasn't planning on going farther in school. I definitely would go back to school for a bachelor's if there was something that I felt like needed in my education, but I didn't feel like going just to go for 2 more years. So I was living in Bismarck, and a friend from Georgia was like, hey, I'm moving to California. There's a spot open. Do you want to come? And I'm like, yes, I do. So 2 weeks later, moved down here to California, or over to California. So I was living here for about 9 months, 6 months ish. And then right when COVID was starting, our lease ended. And so we really wanted to stay in California, my friend and I, but we're like, you know what? This is weird. What's going on? What is happening? So collectively, all of our roommates were like, I think we all should just move home for a little bit. Our lease is up. So that's what happened. It was, I think, 24 hours. I packed up my room and drove back home to South Dakota. And ever since I moved back, I was trying to get Leah. Ever since I moved home to South Dakota, I was trying to get Leah to move back to California with me.
Where were you in California? Were you in this area?
Yep, I was in Huntington Beach still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there any reason you picked Huntington?
No,
you didn't pick. That's the thing.
They had a place set up. They were looking for 2 roommates, these random people who I had never met. I had never even been to California before. So it was literally just blindly being like, yeah, I'll come. Let me just pack up my stuff real quick.
Everything happens for a reason. So good for you.
Exactly. And ended up loving it. So
Fantastic.
great place.
Well, and obviously you were successful in getting Leah here.
It took a while.
It took a solid year
I mean, I
of
was
just whispering in her ear, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to go to California?
I was in Florida on the beach with, I mean, the community that I had there was second to none. I've never seen, I was so blessed with friends. I'll say that.
Where in Florida? What
West Palm
town?
Beach.
Where?
West
Okay.
Palm. So it's like very south by Fort Lauderdale, Boca.
Yeah, I used to live in Boca. So
Oh,
yeah, I know the area. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
So yeah, Palm Beach Island, we were on there every
Nice.
day.
sure.
So
Very cool area.
it was hard. Yeah, I loved my community there. I had all my best friends are there truly. But Mary kept whispering, "Hey, let's go to California and make some dreams come true." And I said, "Okay."
So yes,
Excellent.
and you've been working on that dream pretty well. When you first came out here, what did you do for work?
We didn't do anything for about a month. We sat in our apartment and we said, "What are we doing with our lives?"
Right.
And we talked about that every day for a month. And we both waitress, and so it's really good money. So we're like, let's just get waitressing jobs right off the bat, obviously just to pay rent, meet some friends, meet some locals. You know, it's a great connection making, money making side gig kind of a thing. So we both got waitressing jobs and have just been trying to connect other dots since.
Same place? I'm sorry. You
Yes, we both work at Fred's.
You both work at Fred's. So Fred's is one of the local.
I'm surprised you haven't seen Mary walking by.
I bought a bike. So I was like, I'm going to buy a bike so I don't have to walk every day.
Mm-hmm.
And Leah just refused.
I did not refuse. My bank account refused to buy a bike.
Yeah. So.
Well, Fred's is a great place to make some good money as a server.
It is.
What's the experience like at Fred's? What do you like about serving? What do you not like about serving? Did you ever think you were going to have a career in restaurants?
I can tackle that.
Yeah,
and you can add in. Fred's is a very, very busy and tourist restaurant. I would say I wouldn't say there's a ton of locals that go.
Not during summer anyways.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we've experienced. And so Fred's is great if you want to make some really quick cash, get in and out. Which and the coworkers are super sweet, and we like it for those reasons. I think there's a good amount of drawbacks with it for us because the scheduling is they kind of schedule whenever they want. They don't listen to availability, which is fine because it's a restaurant. It's kind of what you sign up for.
Right.
So that's a drawback. Another drawback for me, I'm sure you feel the same way, is I've served for some years. I would say I'm a very good server. I would hope to be a very good server after that many years. And I love talking with my table. I love making connections. I love hearing what they're doing, where they're from, why are they here. And Fred's kind of strips away that availability because you get so many tables at a time that it's
a very fast paced.
It's insanely fast paced.
Very
Get them in, get them out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not even a get them in, get them out. It's more just like a try to get them what they need, where it's like we used to work at Texas Roadhouse, and that was also like a flip tables kind of a thing, but you were able to give a ton more service, which is what we both were taught. Like that was our first restaurant. So I don't love the fact that I'm not able to give my best service when I have 12 tables kind of a thing. So that's definitely a drawback.
Yeah.
But it's good for what we're asking of it.
I started off that way. I went from busboy to chef or cook and then bartender. So yeah, it's a great way to make money, great way to do things. Yep. Town's changed a lot since then. I was working in Newport at the time.
Oh yeah.
So down by Blackie's. Anyway, so restaurant, that wasn't the career choice. So what is it that, that month-long conversation, what do you want to do? And I see photographs behind you. So
yeah, we came out here wanting to pursue photography, and we didn't really know what that was going to look like, if it was going to be more like weddings and engagements, or ideally we were really wanting to do like editorial magazine type photography. Yes, those are our pictures on the
us.
wall.
Nice
And they're
shots. They're
great. Yeah, they really are great.
Thank you.
So that was always the like intent, was
Photography.
somehow get that kicked off, get that going.
Which we actually kind of shot ourselves in the foot, because photography is all about connections, and leaving the place that you're most connected to, which was home for us, or even Florida for me, coming to a place where we know absolutely nobody. Not
we
necessarily.
definitely made it harder on ourselves.
For sure. Yeah.
But that was really what those talks were of, like, do we want to do photography? And then we just like go so back and forth. And I think what we really tried to nail down was, it's not so much about the photography, it's about, we want to have something that we can work towards, that
is, there's a couple things to it. It's like we want creative freedom, because we're both very creative. Creative freedom, scheduling freedom,
and we don't want to be like living paycheck to paycheck. So it was really a discussion of, what can we do that we can have, like, we can leave whenever we want. Like, let's do
honestly
a remote
so
job.
much of it probably it goes back to homeschooling. We were always allowed to do what we wanted to do. If it was a Wednesday at 9 a.m. and there was something big, our mom would pack us up in her car and we're like, we're going, and school can get done afterwards. And I think so much,
or
I'm
like,
sure it plays back to that.
Tomorrow you want to go hang out with your friends, that's okay. You have to do double school today.
Yeah.
So we've always had the freedom. How much you work will put into how much time you play. And there's not very many jobs that are like that. There's like, we've said it multiple times to each other during that month of like, I never want to work a 9 to 5. Like, I just don't ever want to do it. And that means that we're going to have to work very hard at some point, like up front, to get ourselves going with something, whether that's literally working 70-hour weeks to start something that we can eventually have that freedom to go play hard, because we like to play hard.
Yeah.
So we should bring up the exciting news, and I would like to know, and I'm sure our listeners would like to know, how you got into it.
Can we pause just for a second on that? I'm fascinated. So one of the things I'm picking up, just for a second.
Go ahead.
One of the things I'm picking up, you guys have a great work ethic.
Yeah.
And you hear so much, and I don't know if it's the people that go into corporate America that are younger. We hear from managers. Rona hears from managers all the time. She does classes where the manager's saying, oh, the new generation coming on, they're all entitled. They expect everything to be given them. They don't want to work hard. And I'm just not getting that sense. So either it's those type of people are going into corporate America, or, I mean, what do you think of, are there people in your age group that are like, yeah, okay, the world owes me a living?
Yeah, I've been working here for 6 months. Why aren't I a VP?
I think it's two things. I think the main one is, a lot of our generation grew up watching our parents work 9 to 5 and be depressed and sad and miserable, and having 1 week off a year and working for 40 years at the same job, and like not even getting a raise enough to like adjust with the inflation. And so I think a lot of people are seeing that and are being like, I will never be like my parents in that. Like
this has got to be a joke.
I don't want to live to work. I want to work to live. And I think that the pendulum maybe swung a little too far in some cases, where those people, I'm sure that he was talking about in corporate America, are like, oh, I actually don't want to put in any effort and I want everything to be given to me, or I want to work 2 days and make a living off that. And so I think it depends where the pendulum swung. Of it went too far and people are very entitled of like, oh, I should be getting all these things. Mm-hmm. But I think the majority is a healthy of like, I just need to figure something out to where I'm not opposed to working hard, but I'm not going to spend the rest of my life working. And I think a lot of,
sorry.
And so I think a lot of people are also defining in their own lives what that looks like. Maybe that means I don't have a house right now, and a lot of people are doing the whole living out of their vehicles, doing remote jobs. And so I think that's something that our parents' generation would have just never thought of successful people living out of vans. That was very hippie. Oh, they're just off the grid. So I don't know. That's what my take on it.
I mean, and from what I have seen from, well, millennials are turning 40 and things like that, and they're starting to say Gen Y, and so I just think it's a cyclical thing. Whatever the generation who is speaking is used to, why aren't you doing it like me? I'm like, and I understand that the world changes and the needs change, and Jeffrey makes this point every single podcast that a lot of companies said remote work won't work, and hybrid, and all of a sudden they were proven wrong.
Yeah.
And the older sea levels have had to kind of catch up, and they're not used to that.
Yep. Sure.
So
yeah, that's totally true. Our dad now works from home because of COVID, and I've never seen him more happy.
there
He
you
is
go. A lot of people.
gets to hang out with our mom and his dog all day long.
There you
And
go.
he loves it.
Well, and to your point about homeschooling, it's much more, it's not mainstream per se, and because of COVID, it became much more popular. People didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, from what I understand and what I've heard, have continued it because there's much more flexibility. And I just don't think young kids were meant to wake up at 6 a.m. to be in class by 8.
No.
They've done a lot of studies on that, sort of thing. So anyway, yeah.
She's health and wellness too. So
Yeah.
she's into body rhythms and all that
I love
stuff.
it.
Anyway,
Excellent. Okay, now it's all your show now. You get to ask the question.
So-
She's been dying to talk about
I know,
this.
because
She's
I
very
just think
excited
it's
about it.
so much. Hey, I teach play, creativity, games, activities. How did you guys get into this, and then explain what it is, what the game is, and what happened?
And where did it happen?
Yeah.
And why did it happen?
Tell us your story. Tell us everything.
Okay. So it's so wild to even to be here and hear what's happening with this game. And I mean,
It still doesn't feel real to
no,
us.
I don't think we'll ever be able to wrap our head around it and what we're doing now.
So how did it start? You're on TikTok, right?
Yes. Well, it started last summer because there's this game that we would always play called He's Perfectly Perfect. I learned it in Florida. And what you do is you say he's perfectly perfect. So you imagine you're a perfect person. And then you say like a red flag. So he's perfectly perfect, but he doesn't have his driver's license. Okay. Then you would say
refuses to get his driver's license.
Yeah. And so then you discuss as a group if that's a deal breaker for you. So you say yes or no. Okay. So we played that. Then we're driving up to go camping one summer evening last summer. And
we're playing that. And I'm like, that seems so, I'm like, honestly, if he's perfectly perfect, I'm like,
anything
I don't
can
care
fly.
if he doesn't have a driver's license. He's perfect. So I'm like, there has to be something more to it. And so
give
this
him a
is where it
number.
came. I'm like, give him a number. Like if he's a 10, but he doesn't have a driver's license, it's not an automatic no. It's just like, okay, maybe he's like
A 7.
a 7.
Yep.
Like still totally dateable, still like in the
Just
picture,
a little bit less
but
attractive.
He's just not quite a 10 anymore.
So that was the game.
That was the game.
We would play it all the time.
We played around the campfire.
I brought it to Florida. All my friends would play. We brought it to California. We were playing. And obviously there's an app called TikTok. I had made maybe 5. I absolutely refused to get the app at first. I thought it was Satan's nectar. I was like, this is awful. Mary was on it. Mary had gotten some
like a couple videos like
of hers
got
had
a
popped
little
off.
traction, and
Yeah.
I'm like, Leah, like just she
It was my
kept
idea,
having
technically.
all these ideas of like, oh Mary, you should make this TikTok. Oh Mary, you should make that TikTok. I'm like,
Leah, you need to do it.
just do it yourself.
So
like post it.
Yeah. So one day we were sitting in the car with our friend Lucy, and I was like, let's just film us playing this game because it's quite entertaining to play. So I literally take my phone out and we film us playing the game.
So
Post it on TikTok.
Did you film just your faces? So the camera's pointing at you. You just filmed you.
Yep.
And you're looking at what?
So
on
we're
the phone.
literally, I've got the phone here and I'm recording and I say, he's a 6, but he has a nice truck. And then I would show the camera, I would
Flip it
show
over to
them
me and Lucy, and,
and
they'd
they
be
would
like,
answer. And they would talk about it,
that's a 7.5.
laugh about it. So then I'd pass the phone to Mary, and Mary
And
has
I'd
her own
come up with my
scenario.
own scenario. So I'd be like, he's a 6, but he has a mustache. And so I think that one like went up for Leah
And
to like
down.
a 7, and for Lucy it went down to like a 4.
So I think the reason why it gained the absolute absurd amount of traction that it did was because guys were watching this saying, "Oh my goodness, I can do things." I don't think guys think about it enough how much they can raise their attractiveness to girls by doing something so stupid or so simple like cologne, or how much they can go down in our eyes by doing, it's like the stupidest things. Like one of them was what was the goggle? Oh, he's a 10, but he wears like the nose goggles in the pool. It's absolutely not that big of a deal breaker, but it made us laugh. And it's like, 6, right?
He has to always plug his nose when he jumps in the
He
pool.
plugs his nose.
That's being generous. That's being generous. If he's a 10 and he's wearing the nose plugs, no, that's a 2.
Exactly. So then
Hysterical.
that video ended up getting like 1.4 million views.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
Yeah.
And nobody had been playing this game. Obviously, we created it. And so I start seeing other
But we posted
people.
like a couple more after that. Of
And
like,
'cause
we're
we
like,
posted,
oh,
we posted that one and it's got insane traction. I had people texting me, they're like, your TikTok's coming up on my page. Like, I had like 100 followers on TikTok. Nothing. Like for TikTok, 100 is absolutely nothing. And so then we posted, we're like, well, let's make a couple more. And so we made 3 more, and another one hit like 2.5. I think our other one is now at 2.9. And so that many millions of people are seeing it. People are like, oh my goodness, this is hilarious. I can make it. And so people
would be like commenting.
People,
like,
I think I had 10,000 comments on one video of people typing scenarios that we should do. And so then so many thousands, now millions, honestly, of people recorded it themselves and said they did their own versions, right? Because that's the thing about it is you can do your own version of whatever. Like there was medical ones, there was career ones, like
there were country ones.
like there was a girl, I've seen, I mean, there's so many that I've never even seen because there's too many at this point, but like there was these nurses that did one and they did like a nurses edition and they're like, he's a 9, but he had to take a business phone call while his wife was in labor. And the other nurse was like 1, you know? So it's like, you can relate it to anything. And so it
That's hilarious. It's great.
Yeah. And
Has
so
anybody done a sports one? Like, oh, he's, like Tom Brady, he's a 10 and, oh, he's still a 10. Okay.
no, nobody's done it. Not that I'm sure they have. There is.
You guys grab that one. Do a sports one.
Yeah,
That's how
I looked up the hashtag today because I was writing down some statistics.
Right.
I'm like, I need to realize what's happening here. And using the hashtag he's a 10 but on TikTok, if you look up the hashtag, there's 63 point some million.
No.
Wow.
Million?
Yes, 63 point some million views on that hashtag.
Okay, what's that hashtag?
It's he's a 10 but.
All right, I'm going on my TikTok and I'll say, all right, TikTok.
That's our game.
And whoops, sorry, that's loud. Okay, so
Or you can also just do he's a 10. That's
So
the same. It's got about 13 million less views, but it's still about 50 some million.
he's a 10. Wow. That's amazing. So what is BuzzFeed's interest in this? Where are you getting the attention from?
So
Besides the millions of people around the world and the fact that
sure, but like, what does it mean?
Which has got to be terribly exciting.
oh,
It's
so cool.
It's kind of horrifying, honestly. It's terrifying. I was serving a table at Fred's yesterday, and they looked at me and they said, "How is it handling the TikTok fame?" And I said, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "They recognize me from our videos," which was so weird. So
wait, get down to brass tacks. Did it help with the tip or hurt?
They tipped me good. They definitely
So it helped with the tip.
Yeah,
This is good. This is good.
I know. So yeah, that's the thing is like, okay, so we got 5 million views on this. Now what? and that's what we sat on for about a month, because we posted it about a month ago. And we've been over here like, what do we do with it? Like, what do we do with it? Right.
You're not chasing anyone. You're just contemplating. A month has gone by. You're not doing anything about it. And
we didn't realize how big it was.
We didn't realize the gravity of how
outside
massive.
of TikTok, because we're not on Twitter. But She's a 10 and He's a 10 started trending on Twitter.
She's a 10 was number 8 trending on Twitter. And somebody texted me in the video, or like commented on one of my videos, and they're like, She's a 10 is trending on Twitter. And I said, what? I was like,
37 million views on TikTok for She's a 10, but He's a 10 does have 66 million views.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. And so I was like, well, I'm not on Twitter, but I'm on Instagram, right? So it's funny because so many people were like, oh my goodness, Leah, your TikTok's crazy. People are sending it to me, but there's a whole side of people that aren't on TikTok, right? So everyone,
they're just like Gerber posts or Netflix post a random, like, He's a 10, but doesn't.
Yeah. And so then people are
finally
finally
Netflix show with you.
People are realizing that the trend has now gone on Instagram. Okay. And so, because Instagram takes about 2 weeks, honestly, to get a trend from TikTok. And so now it's exploded on Instagram, right? Like Netflix literally posted Netflix has 30 million followers on Instagram, and they posted a headline, He's a 10, but, and it related to their movie, because that's the thing about it, is people can use it for marketing for whatever product they want, right? He's a 4, but he listens to Biz-Souls. What does that make him to you?
10.
10, right?
Absolutely.
So if you have any social media,
I have to be honest. I had to, we don't have that much of a following. I don't know. I'd give us a 10. Anyway, go.
8 3/4, 8.79.
Exactly. That's what we're saying, is like, all of these companies see this massive trend and they're like, how can we use it to benefit us? Wildly easy. You just say, he's a low number, he uses our product, it's a 10, Yeah. So that's when, and randomly a couple weeks ago, I was like, I should put my email in my bio on TikTok, because I've started a worldwide trend. Maybe somebody would want to reach out to me. And people have wanted to reach out to me. And so I have been getting emails from BuzzFeed, from content creators, from people wanting to build me a website, people wanting to build me an app, people wanting to make me a card game, like whatever you can imagine. I've gotten an email for it, or a DM or something. And so BuzzFeed originally reached out to me and they're like, hey, we want to interview you because you're the creator of the game, which also a lot of people didn't know we're the creator of, because it got so massively big. How do you lead back to the first little nugget,
Right.
Like NBC News did an article on the game.
And they didn't even mention me in it, which is fine, because most people wouldn't know.
So they just went off the numbers and didn't bother to do, journalism is at a new low.
No, it didn't do the due diligence.
If you Google right now, She's a 10 on Twitter, 15 articles will pop up of people that have written about it.
Wow.
And it's
that's insane.
So what are the opportunities to make a living from this? Like what have you been offered? Have you been offered anything? And how would that work?
Do you want to? I can go for it.
To tail into that question, if it makes any sense, we have had probably the most stressful week of my life this past week, because we've realized that, okay, this is massive, and if we don't capitalize on it, somebody else is going to. And I'm 23, Mary's 25. We're creative. We have zero actual business background. We don't know how to do anything.
We don't know how to trademark something.
I don't know how, anything. We
don't know how to create an LLC.
We can help you.
Or a patent.
Exactly. And so this week.
Perfect. We'll take you up on it.
This week, it's been insane to see how many people have come out of kind of the woodworks and said, I'll help you with this. I'll help you with this. And so, and not only that, but it's the most stressful part is because everyone is saying, you need to do it right now, or somebody's going to do it. And it's like a water hose literally to the face of like, okay, I need to capitalize on it. I don't know how. I'm only one person, two person with very little skills and just
we can't code an app.
Right. And so what we're doing, well, the one thing that I can do, which is what I'm starting to do, is brand deals on TikTok, which is so wild to even say, but people make like hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this. And so I've had 2 brands so far reach out to me, and they're like, hey, if you use our product, we'll send you our product. If you use it in your video, we'll pay you X and X, right? And we're like, sick, like, let's do it. So we have 2 brand deals starting for July, which is wild to say. Like, that sounds so weird to say. So that's the practicality. Like, we're one, like, that's one way to make revenue that we're going to start. And then 2, you want to talk about 2?
2 is hopefully within the next couple weeks, we'll be able to nail down, and we're going to try to make an app with the game on the app. Or maybe a physical card game. I think down the road, I think we're going to try to pull out an app first and then go for a physical card game. But again, it's so
hard.
stressful
It's
because
so hard.
we don't know how to code an app. We don't know if someone like is totally blowing smoke with how much they charge to build an app, or
we're just dealing with a lot
into it of like, what do you want it to look like? What do you want it to do?
And we need to know absolutely
yesterday,
3 weeks ago, what you wanted it to look like, because somebody's probably already doing it. And it's like, and another thing that we're running into right now, like, I've been on the phone for the past 3 days. How many hours have I been on the phone? Like
7 hours.
7 hours a day. I'm on work calls for this stupid game, which is like weird. And we're running into an issue right now of somebody got the website before us, and he's kind of dangling, he's emailing at me, and he's like, I've got your website. Like, what can we do? And I'm like, you can give it to me. Like, that's what we can do, buddy. So waiting to hear back from him, seeing if I can get my website handle.
We're trying to figure out if the trademark
is already
in the process of trademarking it.
Because apparently it takes about a year,
available.
which we didn't know, but it takes a long time to get a trademark.
Right.
And we got our LLC yesterday, so that the paperwork's being sent for that.
That's good.
So that's crazy, crazy. A lot of people, we have a really insane friend in our corner helping us, and he lives in San Diego. It's one of our close friends' boyfriend, and he's practically holding my hand through all of this. I'm like, I call him up, I'm like, what do I do here? And he's like, oh, you do this and this and that. And he started like very, very successful businesses, and he's just very kind-hearted and helping. And after we get off, very much so. But more than that, like, after we get up with you, he has 2 phone calls set up for me to meet with 2 of his people to help create an app, because he doesn't like the other app guy. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
And it's very stressful, and it's a good stress.
It is. It's a very good stress. It is.
We were talking about that too, of like relating this back to that first month that we were here, and we're like, yeah, this is stressful, but I'm so excited
to be doing something.
To be like putting our time and effort into something
that you did. It's great.
Well, one of the things that I noticed, first of all, with that success that happened to any other half dozen people, it'd be like, Biz-Souls who? So you guys have been great. You've been flexible. I think that's your main strength, and that's something somebody can't take away. They might be able to grab a website name. They might be able to grab something else. You just got good character, and you've got heart, and the game is positive.
It is.
It's a positive. It's based in positivity. It's kind of almost a feedback game. You could almost play it in management and say, okay, as a supervisor, you're a 10, except when you're feeling all grumpy and don't talk.
Someone did that. They're like, the
Yep.
business is a 10, but they never have snacks in the break room. And they're like,
Like, any variation
7.
of this game is practically been played. It's so people are doing it and already in their careers and relating it to however they can. They did it as a recipe. They're like, the recipe is a 4, but you have every ingredient in your fridge. What does that make you? Like, it's a 10. It's a 10 recipe, right? And so, I mean, it's not even about people. It's about objects. It's about anything, which is.
Yeah, it's great. It's great shortcut code too. You just turn to your friend 10, but.
Yeah, it's like the Internet of Things, except it's the game of things.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So how do you capitalize on the game of things? I'm not sure, but do it right now, very quickly, before other people do it.
Yeah. Well, for you guys, I think it's, the the name and owning it.
Mhm.
And that's the big thing, copyright, trademark, things
He
like
he
that.
gets a lot of flack. If Bill
He-
Gates might be able to guide you through this whole
Yeah.
process. No, he does. Yeah, see, I saw that body language there. He really does a lot of good things. He really has good intent. He just screwed it up on a lot of stuff. No, he might be able to help out and turn this into a positive thing. He's doing a lot with charity or something
Yeah.
else.
So
Somebody-
Bill, if you're listening,
Yeah.
Please
I-
sponsor us. We will give you 1% of our game.
I don't even think
Forever.
he'd ask for that. He'd want it to support one of his projects.
sure.
Maybe even Elon might do it. You know what? How about Johnny Depp? Johnny Depp's got some free time on his hands now.
Yeah.
He could pick it up. He's got a lot of following. Disney could pick
Because
it
yeah,
up.
because he's an MIT graduate.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, yeah.
Sure, Disney's already played some variation of it. Like if I don't follow Disney on Instagram, but I bet they played it genuinely.
Oh,
I'm sure they have. Tim Cook over at Apple.
Sure.
Something like that.
Throughout all of this, like even if the trademark is gone, even if no one like the app ends up like crashing or like not following through, like it was such a good learning experience.
We learned so much.
Of if nothing else from the whole experience, now we have a little traction on TikTok to continue in that like area. That's great.
And I think-
just us learning how to do this all for maybe the next big thing.
Yeah.
Like
And
we're
to
just
have
gonna
it
take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And
and to have it behind our names, honestly, too. Like I think being the creators of this, if we wanted, I think it would just give us more pull if we needed something at some point. You know, I'm not like, I don't even know what that would be, but I think it could benefit us. Yeah, even if we can't monetize it, even if our game doesn't work out, if the app doesn't work out, if you won't ever give me my website, like, you know, something's we're
And
learning.
there are ways to get around that, you know, that website thing, you know, how you type it out, things like that. So there are definitely ways to play with that.
Yeah, we'll make a couple of calls, different people,
Sure.
see something, see what happen.
And that's truly like, we have been wildly blessed because every question that we've had that I swear is like gonna sink me, I'm like, oh, actually, I know somebody that could answer this for me. And so the people that have been coming out of the woodworks to help us, I mean, like truly it's been a gift, because even I got my contract for one of the first brand deals and I'm reading it and I'm like, I don't know, this is in Japanese to me, you know, I don't know if this looks good, if this looks bad. I have absolutely nothing to compare it to. And one of our coworkers at Fred's, her sister worked at TikTok, and that's her job, is to look through contracts. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I said, would your sister look at the contract for me? And she's like, send it right now. So just like the people that have been helping us, I mean, it's not by chance. We'll say that.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah,
we
no,
definitely have-
absolutely.
And you know, you girls are so sweet, so nice, and you make it easy for people to want to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
quite.
It's
Very
incredibly
exciting.
exciting. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what the next steps are and what you guys come up with next.
You might see us
Yeah,
walking by the house in a couple months, and we'll just drop a board game off at your house. You know.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great.
We will.
Although
testify.
that they'll probably pull by in a Lamborghini or something. You
Right.
Know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
We still,
No,
you know, just
see,
come
there-
by and just have a beer.
Oh yes, we would love that.
absolutely.
And so, have you ever been through a Huntington Beach 4th of July?
No.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. So, batten down the hatches. It gets kind of crazy around here. The whole place kind of turns into a party. There's a bit of a parade.
Are you guys working?
say that we're working.
We were
all
not.
weekend,
All weekend.
doubles.
Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. Leah, you'd mentioned this before. They've always got you on weekend shifts and stuff like that. First of all, that's a compliment. The reason management does that is because you show up, you are dependable, and you're able to handle the crowds. So it's not by happenstance that you're
And that's a
getting
lesson
assigned.
for anyone who's watching in any kind of business. When you get picked for holidays, there's a
Yeah,
good reason for it.
absolutely. Yeah, remember, no good deed
That's right.
or job
Or
goes
job
unpunished.
unpunished, right.
That's so funny.
You know, because I'm good, I get weekends. Thank you very much.
No, it's not a
Love
very.
it.
It's not very kind of them to repay us that
That's
way.
great.
But
That's great. Well,
We have to go.
What we got to go.
Well,
They got to
yeah,
go.
'cause,
Oh,
yeah,
they
you
got to
have
go.
the- Yeah,
You guys, yes.
it's 1:30.
We really
so
appreciate the time on stuff.
This has
We'll talk.
been-
We'll talk off. We'll talk off, and we'll hope that we'll have you on again. I would love
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you
I love
so
it.
much
Oh my gosh.
for taking time
Congratulations
out.
so
Yeah,
much.
we are so excited for you.
Thank you.
you.
I
Fantastic.
love the podcast. Keep going. You guys are rocking it. I love it.
Oh,
Thanks,
thanks.
thanks.
All right.
All right.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
This has been Biz-Souls. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler, and our guests, Mary and Leah, have an exciting future ahead of them.
He's a 10, but we'll see
Cool.
you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls podcast with your hosts, Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.